This week's series is going to be titled Essential Habits, and we're going to talk every day about one essential habit that you can put into play in your life. And so I'm here hanging out with my wife, Stacy.
Yep. Hi. Good to see everybody.
And she's really happy with me right now because I gave her a big, long warning that this video was coming.
Yeah, he told me a few minutes ago, and I had not put on makeup or comb my hair in like 16 days. And so I was not too happy to have to go upstairs and pull out my makeup case.
Well, you look wonderful.
I love you people. It's for you, for the people.
So we're glad to be hanging out with you. And we're going to talk today. We're specifically going to talk about the first of the 5 habits, a daily habit. And that's what is today's habit?
We're talking about scheduling, right?
Making a plan. So habit number 1, daily habit, is to make a plan.
Yep.
And Stacy's really good at making a plan. I'm pretty good at making a plan too, but she's amazing at.
I stick with my
she
plan.
She sticks
you
with.
You make a plan and then you run all over yourself.
And I change the plan. So you got multiple personalities here together. So let's talk first about, so we're going to give 8 ideas if we get through them all.
Okay.
Maybe we won't get through all of them. But the first one, in terms of making a plan, we're going to talk about how do you make a plan for a day. And this is especially important during this COVID season. Why do you think it's so important right now for people to make a plan?
Well,
this is not one of the ideas.
There were a couple of days that we didn't have a plan and it didn't go very well. We were just sitting around your house staring at each other. We
encountered an extra measure of spiritual warfare the days that we didn't have a plan.
Yes, and it was raining. It's been horrible weather here. So yeah, you got to have a plan so that everybody doesn't go crazy, keep everybody moving.
Yeah, and something about everybody's brain kind of clicks into a different gear when there's a plan. And even it's kind of crazy to think about if you're locked inside of a house where we have this, what's the phrase for it? It's
shelter in place.
Shelter in place. So you think, well, I don't need a plan, but in reality, when there is a plan, everything runs better. Attitudes are better. You actually get stuff done.
Yeah.
So the first one that we're going to talk about is put your big rocks in first.
Yeah. For me, and I think for Andy too, the 2 essentials for us in the morning are just getting up and making sure we get some time with Jesus before we face the kids, and also making sure we get a workout in every day because we just feel better. And so those are things that are easy to squeeze out if you're not intentional about getting them on the calendar, on your schedule, and maybe even doing them first thing in the day. And then kind of the whole day feels better if you can get those first really big things in for first thing.
Yeah, and we won't spend a ton of time on that because later in the week I'm going to come and talk a little bit more about both of those habits that she just mentioned. One other really practical thing that I find helpful in terms of making a plan for a day, especially when it comes to work, is I want to know what are the top 3 things that I need to get accomplished today. Like if you got to the end of the day and you only got 3 things accomplished, what would those 3 things be that will have moved the needle most, especially for those of you who are like working online? Even in the midst of Zoom meetings, sometimes you might actually have to write on, be present for this meeting because that's the most important meeting. And I find that if I can have those 3 things done, that sometimes just clarifying and focusing on your 3 biggest priorities and making them actionable, whether it's like have this conversation, send this email, write this report, that clarity helps a ton. So that's number 1. Number 2, we're going to talk about winning the morning. Win the morning.
That's kind of what I just was talking about, but I think you could set an alarm and get up when your alarm goes off, have a clear start time. Is that a different one though?
No, well, it's number 2 on the ideas.
Yeah.
You think you already said that, so we can just keep going?
Get your big rocks in first.
Yeah.
And then the third one you have down is to have a clear start time. So it's all kind of about, it's all kind of about the morning. So.
Hey, I like specifics when I'm trying to communicate content.
The clear start time though is really helpful, not just for me, but for kids.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little secret, a little helpful hint for all the parents out there. Your kids can be trained to stay in their bedrooms until a certain time.
Yeah.
You can start this as young as babies. And we have had a 7 o'clock wake up time since our kids were babies. And even if they would wake up ahead of time, now this kind of is in effect once they've learned to sleep through the night. You can't have a newborn baby screaming in there from 5 a.m. to 7. But once they can sleep through the night, if they wake up before 7, then they don't need to come out of their rooms. And we got this little okay to wake clock. You can get one on Amazon. It'll get here by June. And but you can order one of those, and then it turns green when they're able to come out of their rooms if they're too young to tell time. And we have trained our children that they're not allowed to come out of their room until 7. And so that allows us to have, we know what our start time is, that we can get up by a certain time, get our stuff done. And then right now this is what time breakfast is. And we're eating breakfast at that time. You're not sleeping until 10 o'clock. We're going to start our day at this time. We're going to do our homeschooling, and just having a clear start time for myself and for the kids is really helpful to get the day off to a good start.
That's good. Number 4 is to schedule playtime.
Yeah, because gosh, it's so dreary and just to sit in the house and stare at each other all day long. So we do homeschool in the morning, and but we have like scheduled times where we're going to play board games. We're going to go for scooter rides. We're going to go jump rope or throw a football together, and just make ourselves stop what we're doing and play together or play independently. We have independent playtime as well.
Yeah. And with my schedule, I'm just like putting in slots of time in between calls and things that I'm trying to get done where I can pop out and hang out. And it's actually good for me to get that mental break as well. So that playtime or allows your brain to reset.
Even if you don't have kids, like make sure you're scheduling, go outside for a walk, like do it more than once a day, get outside, get fresh air, just break up your day with something fun.
Mm-hmm. And then in particular, the next one is to communicate well, which I did really well with tonight. Today, helping you.
You came in the room an hour ago. You're like, you're shooting a video.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Well, I think one night you did do a good job where you said,
one time I did.
What will it look like for me to win at home this week? And so we were able to have a good conversation around, you've got all your responsibilities that you're working hard on for work, but then also how can you win at home? And so we were able just to communicate about what my hopes or expectations were, and then how to make our schedules align so that we could both accomplish what we need to.
Yeah, I think especially in marriage, this is important when you have two people that are working at home, that you need to communicate. And even communicating with the kids, like talk about that for those who have kids, like how you communicate schedules with them. And
well, I have a posted schedule every day so that they just know what to expect. They can all read, and so they can see that. But then even the night before, setting out the expectation for, I tell them what they're having for breakfast. And I mean, I switch that out. They don't have the same thing every day, but it's like, this is what's for breakfast tomorrow morning. If you wake up before breakfast, these are your options. And just keeping it very clear and well communicated, and then they have the right expectation in their mind, so there's less pushback in the moment because they know what's coming.
Number 6 is to develop an ideal weekly calendar. And this is particularly important. This has been really helpful for me in my role. Everything is shifted in our reality every week. And it's taken me about 3 weeks now. Each week I'm kind of like re-looking at my schedule. The first 2 weeks were just absolutely crazy, but I had to personally get into like a planned new normal in this arena where I'm like looking, okay, when am I going to do content? When am I going to do message preparation? When am I going to get ahead? When are my meetings and calls going to be? But I find that if you can look at your week, again, this is changing a ton in our current reality, and it'll totally shift when this time is, of us being in our homes is kind of shifted again. But I find having a weekly calendar or a rhythm of life that you're looking through allows you to better prepare and plan. Anything you want to add on that? From a family standpoint?
Well, with the kids, I think that we're having to work out school, and also I work part-time for the church. And so I'm figuring out my work schedule as well. And so just coordinating that, like when can I set them up with independent activities so that I can have my meetings or get my work done? And then when do I want to be fully engaged as a mom? I don't want them to look back on this whole shelter in place experience and feel like my mom was totally absent. She was just trying to get us out of her hair. And so I don't want to be that mom. And so I am thinking strategically, okay, these activities are ones that they can and should do independently. So these are my windows of work. And then if it's not that time, then I'm going to put my computer away. I'm putting my phone away. I'm with them. And you just get less work done. You know, if you're the mom, if you have little kids at home, then you just have to give yourself a lot of grace. And I think most employers are given grace at this time as well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, talk a little bit about one of the ideas we had here with the kids. This is for parents. You called it what, when, where?
Yeah, it's just a simple like parenting strategy that your kids should always know what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to do it, and when they're supposed to do it. And so it helps them to know what success looks like for them. And the more responsible they are, the better attitudes they have, the more freedoms they have. Mm-hmm. And then if you have a kid that's really grumpy or fussy or disrespectful or whatever it may be that day, then those boundaries come in like very small. And so I'm going to tell you exactly where to go and what to do and when to do it. But if you are like being responsible and you have a great attitude, then there's more freedom in that. But I think everybody feels more successful when they know what you're expecting of them, what, where, and when, and then they can have certain amounts of freedom within that.
That's great. Okay, last one is to put margin in for your soul. And we find that doing this on the front end of the day and the back end of the day, mm-hmm. having time to feed yourself, to read, to meditate, to pray, that part of starting the day that way and finishing that day, whether it's a book that you're reading, some content that is allowing your brain, your heart, your body to slow down and prepare for the next day.
Yeah, and I think that people with children of all ages, that it's really important not to start and end your day with your children awake. Mm-hmm. And that, like, if you have that, okay, 7:00 is your time that you're invited out of your room, then even if they wake up at 6 a.m., you know that you still have that time until you're greeting them. If they wake you up in your bed every morning, that for me, that is a horrible way to start mm-hmm. my day. And so I need that margin so that I'm able to welcome them joyfully downstairs and to start the day well with them. I need a minute to myself to pray and get my heart right. And then again at night, even if your kids are older, they're teenagers, they stay up later, they can still have their own quiet time in their room or somewhere separate from you. And so everybody at a certain time of night, you're going your separate ways, everybody's calming down, everybody has a moment and just margin to kind of decompress before you try to fall asleep.
That's really good. You're doing a fantastic job.
On such short notice?
Yes. Well, not just with the video, but I mean with like in general with the schedule.
I was wondering, I just want you to notice I put on eyeliner for you. Make sure you notice.
I did not put any eyeliner on. Yes. But yes. So Stacy, I really do though think that you're a great example and for everyone to learn from. And it really does help when you have two people working together. I think that there's some folks out there that are not married, not dating, they're single. Anything thoughts you'd add to that for them?
Well, I would say that all these things are important for yourself, and it's easy when you maybe live alone to just kind of like not have a schedule because you can do it whenever, but I think you'll feel better if you keep a schedule. Like if you hold yourself to certain disciplines, like you're going to get up at this time, you're going to spend time with Jesus, you're going to get in a workout, and then making time for play for yourself as well. Like you're going to go for a walk outside, you're setting up a Zoom call with your best friend to hang out. Doing things that you can look forward to is like really critical for your emotional health. And this time of isolation can definitely lead to depression if if you're not intentional about staying connected to community. And so keep all these good essential habits in place, and also be committed to doing whatever it takes to be engaged with community during this time.
That's really good. I think too that it doesn't have to be so rigid, right? It's not like, okay, well, you're 2 minutes late for your Bible reading time or your exercise. At least I'm not very rigid with it.
No, you're not.
You are.
You're quite flexible with yourself.
So I think that it can shift and change, and you can give yourself flexibility, give yourself margin, do things, put things in there that you look forward to. But just simply having that clarity and that structure can help. I think part of the reason why, from a psychological standpoint, that this is so important in the midst of crisis is because everything is out of control. Like it feels like everything is shifting and changing, but there still are many things that we can control. Mm-hmm. So when the world is out of control, it becomes increasingly important to focus on self-control. So for your personality, maybe you do it a little bit of a different way, but I want to encourage you to make a plan. And if you have a plan, you'll be more fruitful, mm-hmm. you'll have more peace, things will flow better. You can move the plan, change the plan, but have a plan.
Yeah.
Sound good?
That's good.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing you back. Actually,
I might not be back,
She's not going to be my guest again.
Yeah.
I'm going to have her be my guest every day.
If it was just audio, that to do all this.
Well, I was going to have you be my guest, so you have to put.
He's sick of looking at me, guys. That's why he made me dress up for tonight.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure I could still.
It's not tonight, it's today.
Oh, yeah.
For today. Mm-hmm. So thanks for joining us today. We look forward to tomorrow, and we hope that this was helpful for you. If you found it helpful, we want to encourage you to comment here. Let us know what part of it helped you. Also, we want to invite you to share with your friends, family members. Let other people know about it so that we can spread the word and help more people. Also, if you go to our website, Echo.Church, you'll find more resources there and ways that we're trying to help people in the midst of COVID crisis. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.